The Detroit Lions host the Buffalo Bills this weekend in a matchup between the NFL's number one team and the NFL's potential MVP. This has been one of the most highly touted slates and one of the most highly anticipated games of the NFL schedule, with some going as far as to say this is a potential Super Bowl preview, as both teams have Super Bowl aspirations this year. Now, in today's video, we're going to take a look at this preview. We're going to take a look at both teams offensively and defensively, take a look at the injury reports, the health, the advantages and disadvantages both sides face this weekend, as well as their recent forms to come to an ultimate conclusion about the end result of this game and who will walk out the victor and likely the Super Bowl favorite after it's all said and done. So, with that being said, let's kick it off by taking a look at the recent schedules. The Detroit Lions are 12-1 on the season, having an 11-game winning streak. They are the number one seed in the NFC, coming off their most recent victory against the 9-4 Packers on Thursday Night Football by a score of 31-34. The Buffalo Bills, on the other hand, are 10-3. After a slight setback a weekend ago, they sit as the AFC's number 2 seed. They did fall on the road to the Los Angeles Rams by a score of 42-44. And while Josh Allen was incredible and actually set a record in that game, the Buffalo Bills defense didn't come through. They had a punt block that was returned for a touchdown. They had a couple of weird things happen, especially on the defensive side of the ball, that led to that scoreline being a little bit worse than it actually is. But they gave up a lot of points, and that setback put them at 10-3 and potentially out of the race for a bye week in the AFC playoffs when it comes around. Taking a look at the Lions versus the Bills on both sides of the ball, we'll start with the Lions offense, who ranks 6th in the passing attack, 4th ranked in the rushing attack, and they rank as the league's number one scoring offense in the league. Not only are they the best scoring team in football, they are potentially on pace to be one of the best scoring teams of all time, certainly being on pace to have the most points scored of any team in the 17-game era, but potentially being on pace to be a top 10, if not a top 5 scoring offense of all time. The Buffalo Bills are no slouches on defense, though, with the 8th ranked passing defense, the 18th ranked rushing defense, and the 8th ranked scoring defense. They still play a very good brand of football. They don't allow a lot of passing yards. They do allow a lot of rushing yards, but those rushing yards and overall yardage doesn't lead to a lot of scoring. They are still a top 10 scoring defense, and outside of their outlier game a week ago, they very rarely allow more than 28 points. They keep their opponents low scoring. Josh Allen does his thing on offense, and it typically leads to a Buffalo victory. On the flip side, the Buffalo Bills offense is quite good. Ranking as the 12th overall passing offense and the 11th rushing attack, the Buffalo Bills move the ball quite well on both the ground and through the air. They are one of the most balanced offenses in the NFL from that standpoint, but that also leads them to being one of the best scoring offenses in the NFL. Of course, led by MVP frontrunner Josh Allen, the Bills are one of the best teams and most dangerous teams across the league, and the Lions are certainly going to have their hands full this weekend. The Lions on defense rank as the 23rd passing attack, something that the Bills are certainly going to look to take advantage of. But on the ground, they rank as the 5th best rushing defense and the 3rd best scoring defense, despite having by far the most injuries on the defensive side of the ball. With 13 defensive players on injury reserve, 11 of them being rotational starters or playmakers, there is a lot missing from this Lions defense. Anzalone, Barnes, Davenport, Hutchinson, Melifonwu, all of these different playmakers, all of these different starters have missed time this season and have missed a majority of the season. And yet, despite starting Quan Alexander and Jamal Adams on less than a week of practice, despite starting Kendall Vildor in crucial roles on Thanksgiving, the Detroit Lions still rank as the 3rd scoring defense in football, and only once this season has there been a quarterback that's passed for more than a single touchdown in a game on the Detroit Lions. So yes, they give up a lot of yards through the air, but their secondary doesn't allow many scores. Their rushing defense is still top 5, and they are a tough defense to play against, even with all of the injuries that have occurred. Taking a look at some of the other advantages this week, a lot of them swing towards the Detroit Lions. Home field advantage goes to Detroit. Rest goes to Detroit. The Bills are having a normal week, while the Detroit Lions are on 10 days of rest, playing Thursday Night Football a week ago. From the health perspective of the players that are active and potentially on the 53-man roster, The Lions actually have the advantage there as well, with most of their players that are on the active roster getting healthy and with the potential to play. Statistically, the Detroit Lions are the better football team. They are the better passing attack, the better rushing attack, the better scoring offense, the better scoring defense, and the better rushing defense. But of course, if there is a great equalizer in the NFL, it is the quarterback position. Josh Allen is the MVP frontrunner for a reason. Last week, despite the loss, Josh Allen contributed 6 touchdowns to the offense. First time in NFL history, there's been a quarterback with 3 passing touchdowns and 3 rushing touchdowns. 2 weeks ago versus the 49ers, he caught a touchdown pass that he threw. He is one of the most dynamic and dangerous athletes in all of football. Nobody really stops Josh Allen. The best you can hope to do is contain him and really contain the big play. And even then, Josh Allen can hurt you on the ground with legs. He can hurt you through the air with his massive arm. He is not afraid to make any throw. He is not incapable of making any throw on the football field. And the Detroit Lions are going to have to get consistent pressure as well as consistent contain if they want to win this football game. As mentioned, the Detroit Lions are getting healthy, right? The injury report for them is a little bit longer on this list, but I think the did not practice and potential players that are going to be out are a little bit more significant for the Bills this week. Josh Pascal has been fully practicing, and this is the player the Lions need for this game. One of the best edge-setting defensive ends in football, one of the best run stoppers in the NFL. Josh Pascal will be crucial to not only containing James Cook, but also containing Josh Allen within the pocket, not allowing him to escape, not allowing rushing lanes up the middle, and not allowing Josh Allen to hurt them with their legs is a massive part of this game, and they won't be able to do it without Josh Pascal. Aleem McNeil, after suffering a concussion on Thursday Night Football, has been fully practicing all week and is expected to play, as is starting left tackle Taylor Decker, a player that over the last couple of weeks has missed, I believe, 2 weeks in a row versus the Packers and the week prior, but has been fully practicing this week, is expected to take his spot back at the left tackle position and put the Detroit Lions at full strength on the offensive line yet again. DJ Reader has been limited in practice for a majority of the week, but I do expect him to play as well, even in a limited capacity. I do expect number 98 to be a factor on defense, with Levi Onwuzurike being the same. Levi has missed the last 2 games due to injury as well, but has been limited all week in practice, and it will likely come down to a 50-50 shot if he plays this week, but will likely gear up at least next week for the Chicago Bears in a divisional matchup. The Bills, on the other hand, while their injury list is a little bit longer, most of the players on that injury list are full participants this week. The exceptions, Rasul Douglas has not practiced either Wednesday or Thursday, and I'm not sure if he's expected to practice Friday. Damar Hamlin has not practiced Wednesday or Thursday either, nor has Taylor Rapp. 3 of the starting members of that Bills secondary have not practiced this week. And the Bills secondary, as is, isn't really that good, right? Statistically, they're okay. They rank 9th in the NFL in passing yards allowed. But as far as talent goes, I don't know if I would say that they're one of the most talented secondaries in the NFL. They kind of embody the Michigan Wolverines aspect of playing defense, where you might not look at that defense and say, there's an all-pro, there's an all-star, there's a top player at their position. But at the end of the season, you look at their defense and it's, oh, they're a top 10 rushing defense. They're a top 10 passing defense. They're a top 5 scoring defense. So while it seems like maybe they don't have a ton of stars, they always seem to play really hard and always put up really good defensive statistics. But of course, missing 3 of your starting secondary members, including 2 of your starting safeties, the depth at Buffalo's secondary is going to be tested, and it could be something the Lions look to take advantage of this weekend. Taking a look at keys to victory, I have 3 for each team. For the Detroit Lions, run the ball. The Buffalo Bills rank 25th in the NFL in yards per carry allowed. They allow 4.7 yards per carry, while Jahmyr Gibbs averages 5.7 and David Montgomery averages 4.3. On defense, contain the big plays. It's okay if the Bills get a 5, 6, 7 yard completion. It's okay if they rush for 5, 6 yards at a time. What the Lions need to do is they need to contain the big play. They can't allow Josh Allen to scramble for 20. They can't allow Josh Allen to beat you over the top for 50. And they can't allow James Cook to take a screen pass or a short dump off pass 40 to 50 yards down the field. Contain the big play. keep Josh Allen in the pocket, keep Josh Allen under, pressure, and obviously keep the offense short yardage situations. And I think the Lions are going to have a chance to win this game. If Josh Allen is throwing massive plays, if he's throwing 40, 50-yard bombs and completing them down the field, it's going to be tough to beat the Bills. With that chunk yardage, they are a tough team to stop. And of course, when they get in the red zone, Josh Allen with his legs is one of the most dangerous players in football. The last point I have for the Lions is make the Buffalo Bills beat you. And by what I mean by that is don't let Josh Allen beat you. Don't let Josh Allen contribute 6 touchdowns to the offense, right? Make James Cook score 2. Make the offensive line play a great game. Make the rushing attack of the Buffalo Bills play a good game. Make the wide receivers consistently beat you underneath and don't give up the big play over top. Essentially, don't let Josh Allen take the game over. Make him have a slightly above average day. Make him have even a really good day. If he contributes 2, 3 touchdowns, that's fine. Don't allow Josh Allen to do what he did against the Rams. Don't allow Josh Allen to look like an MVP. And I think the Lions will have a chance to win that game. Obviously, much easier said than done. And certainly the Bills are capable of beating the Lions as a cohesive football team. But I think if you can slow down Josh Allen to even 2 touchdowns through the air and 1 on the ground, you're going to have a chance to beat this Buffalo team. For the Bills, of course, stopping the run is crucial. David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs are the engine to the offense. When the Lions don't run the ball, the Lions don't score points. When the Lions don't score points, the Lions don't win football games. Take a look back at their only loss of the season, week 2 versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They didn't run the ball. They had almost 500 yards of offense, and they didn't run the ball. Because of that, the Lions scored, I believe, just 16 points in that game and lost. Ever since then, they have ran the ball efficiently, they have ran the ball effectively, and they have done so to win football games. If Buffalo can stop the run, which is certainly a large ask, they're going to have a chance to make this offense one-dimensional and make it really tough on the Detroit Lions to score and to win. Josh Allen needs to use his legs. As I mentioned, the Detroit Lions are one of the worst teams in football when it comes to stopping the quarterback run, whether it be the scramble, whether it be the designs, whether it be whatever it is. When the quarterback runs, when the offense has that extra rusher, that extra blocker, the Lions don't stop it very well. We saw it really early in the Colts game with Anthony Richardson. I think he had 4 attempts on the first. I think Anthony Richardson had 4 rushing attempts on the first drive of the football game. They went right down the field and they scored immediately. It was a field goal, but they went right down the field and they scored because Anthony Richardson ran the ball. They got away from it in the second half because of some injury concerns. But when they were running the ball with the quarterback, somebody as big and powerful as Anthony Richardson, it gave the Lions a lot of issues. And I see a very similar thing happening this weekend in Buffalo. Now, on the flip side of that, I'm not entirely sure the Bills are going to look to drive Josh Allen into the ground and give him 10, 12 rushing attempts because at the end of the day, while this is a large matchup, this is an out-of-conference matchup, right? There is no tiebreaker involved if the Bills or the Lions lose this game. And while it is certainly a big game for both teams to prove that they belong with the top dogs, at the end of the day, it's not the time to ruin Josh Allen. It's not the time to run Josh Allen into the ground. So while I do expect him to have probably 6, 7, maybe even 8 attempts, I do think that that aspect of his game will be limited, but it depends how effective and efficient he is with the carries he does get that will determine this game in large pickups. Keep the Lions to 3rd and long. If it is 3rd and 1, if it is 3rd and 2, they're going for it on 4th down. That's just simply how it is. Make the Lions punt the ball. Don't give them the opportunity to go for it on 4th down, right? If it is 3rd and short and they get to 4th and inches, chances are the Lions are going for it. If it is especially an opportunity in the red zone, in the opponent's territory within the 30, Lions are going to probably go for it if it is short enough. So for the Buffalo Bills, keep it 3rd and long. Keep it 4th and long. Don't give the Lions that opportunity to steal a possession. Don't give them the opportunity to turn a 3-point gain into a 7-point gain, right? Don't allow the 4-point swing, and I think you'll be able to stop the Detroit Lions. But again, both things are harder to do than they are to say, right? It's a lot easier for the Bills to say, oh, we're going to stop the Lions run game and keep them to 3rd and long than it is to do it. It's a lot easier for the Lions to say, oh, stop Josh Allen, keep him to 2 touchdowns than it is to do it. Both teams are incredibly capable and some of the best teams in football. So, with that being said, what is the final score prediction? With so many factors, with so many different players, and with so much on the line, I think the Detroit Lions continue their winning streak. This is a game that easily could go either way. I think this will be one of the best games of the NFL slate and potentially, as many are saying, a potential Super Bowl matchup. But because of the health that the Lions are getting back with Levi and Pascal and potentially Reader and McNeil and Decker, the health is going for the Detroit Lions. We saw what they did on Thursday night with a lot of backups. Now they're getting back potentially 4 players on the defensive line and their starting left tackle. Rest. 10 days of rest in the NFL is a very, very long time. It's an extra 3 days to game plan. It's an extra 3 days to relax. It's an extra 3 days to recover. So, from a health perspective, the Detroit Lions are better in that category. Talent wise, I do think the Lions are a little bit more talented. Statistically, they beat the Bills in 5 of the 6 categories that we talked about today. A better passing attack, a better rushing attack, a better scoring offense, a better rushing defense, and a better scoring defense. I think the Lions are a more talented and better performing football team right now. And of course, the home field advantage. This is a game that both teams can win. This is a game that could be the statement of both teams' season. If the Lions win, they potentially take a game and a half lead for the 1 seed as well as a 2.5 game lead for the NFC conference, for the NFC North division. If the Buffalo Bills win, they potentially keep up with Kansas City for a bye in the AFC playoffs. So with both teams having a lot to play for, I think this will be a really fun game, but I do think the Lions will emerge victorious. So with that being said, that is all I have for you guys today. Let me know down in the comments below your opinions of this game. Who do you think is going to win? Who do you think is going to have a big game? What do you think the outcome is going to be? And how do you think it will impact the playoffs? I'd be curious to hear your guys' opinions in the comments below. If Bills fans show up, I'd love to hear your guys' opinions. Absolutely no hate to the Bills. I really like the football team. I think they're very capable of winning this game, but the bias might have got the better of me, and I do think the Lions will take it. So with that being said, let me know down in the comments below. Curious to hear your guys' opinions, but with that being said, that's all I got for you right now. Thank you all so much for watching, and until next time, and as always, go Lions.